Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Gay Polk-Payton White with Gay's PSA on Survival Radio Network. Thank you guys so much for being with me this afternoon. I always count it a privilege to have you join me on Gay's PSA each Friday afternoon. Y'all, today I am trying something different. I am going live and doing my radio show live on the air at the same time. So, y'all bear with me. This is really like the maiden voyage of this. So if I don't respond right away to your questions, I'll do my best to respond to those during the commercial break halfway the show. If you would like to call in and ask a question on the air, the number is 1-917-932-1078, and you can ask your question live on the air. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can possibly inbox me the questions. I may be able to get to them. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but if you just want to listen, if you're like in your car and you can't watch the video and you want to just listen live on the air, you can also dial that number. But if you want to get into the host queue, you have to press 1 to ask a question, and the producer will get your name, and then we'll go from there. So, y'all, I've been doing my radio show. On August 15th, it will be 4 years that I've been doing my radio show. And so many people didn't even know that I had a radio show. And, they were used to me popping up and doing Facebook Live every once in a while, but they never knew that I had a radio show. And usually when I do my radio show, I will have a guest on the air with me to talk to me about various issues. Y'all, August is going to be off the chain. I got so many incredible guests coming on the show in August. Y'all are going to love it, love it, love it. So just get ready for that. But in the meantime, for the people who don't know me, there are some people who don't know me. That's why I've advertised this on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Blog Talk Radio, Women in Radio. I've advertised this everywhere because there are people who don't know me. So I want to give y'all an opportunity to get to know me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm going to tell you about some of the projects that I have going on. If you were listening on the intro, the song that you were listening to is called God Gives Me. I wrote that song, and that is me singing that song. And that song was featured on the soundtrack and in the movie Blackbird, directed by Patrick Ian Polk, with stars in that movie like Isaiah Washington, Monique Hicks, Julian made his debut in that movie. So it was really, really awesome to go to the premiere in Hollywood and hear my voice coming out of the speakers at the movie theater. That was really, really cool. And so one of the other songs you'll hear today is another song that was featured on that soundtrack. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Gay Polk-Payton White. People always tell me that I have too many last names, but I don't feel like I do. The Polk is for my daddy, the Payton is for my son, and the White is my husband. And someone asked me, they were like, do I have to call you by all those names? I was like, no, you don't have to call me at all. And we could just put a stop to that. You ain't got to worry about what you call me. Just don't call me. Leave me alone. How about that? But most of the time, I'm okay with people just calling me by my first name, calling me Gay. I much prefer that to judge when we're in Walmart. So the only time I require that title is when I'm sitting in the chair in the courtroom. Y'all, I am from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I've lived here the majority of my life, and I only left really to go to grad school in New Orleans and to go to law school at Ole Miss. So I really call Hattiesburg home, and I was grateful to be able to come back here so I could serve my community the way that I have prided myself on doing for the last several years. It's a blessing to be able to serve my community. It's a blessing that people want me to come and speak. It's a blessing that people want me to come and sing. It's just a blessing to be needed. And, people always ask me, you do so much. It's like you're a lawyer, you're a judge, you're a singer, you're a songwriter, you're a motivational speaker, you're an author. How do you do all of that? Well, that's easy. And I'm also a wife and a mother. But the way that I do it is very, very easy. It's like my energy comes from the people who need me. and my strength comes from God. So it's like I get my energy from my husband, I get my energy from my son, I get my energy from my clients, from my constituents, from the people who listen to me speak at motivational speaking events, people who are at book signings, want to buy a copy of my book. I get my energy from all of those sources, and then I draw my strength from God. He gives me all the strength I need to do everything that I need to do in the course of a week, which sometimes can be a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's nothing I can't handle. Okay, so I've been practicing law in Mississippi since 1996. So this year is 22 years that I've been practicing law. It's a long time. I know. I do not look like I've been practicing law 22 years, but I also don't look like I'm going to be 50 in December. But I will be 50 in December. And you know, what can I say? Melanin magic, honey, black girl magic. Black does not crack. It just don't crack. You know, it wrinkles every once in a while, and it'll sweat and get oily because it's getting oily right now. I'm going to have to give me a paper towel at the break. But it don't crack. Not at all. I mean, think about people like Lena Horne and Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett is 60 and she looks like she's about 32. I'm like, oh my God. And I mean, her body, I just can't. And then Jennifer Lopez, you know, she's not black, but you know, she black enough, and she's 49 and she looks like a 26-year-old girl. So, you know, it's just like, it's all about taking care of yourself. This morning I was at the gym. I did 5 miles total. I did 3 miles on the treadmill and 2 miles on the bike because I'm trying to keep my life together, and I'm trying to keep my life because I have high blood pressure. And, you know, you have to really take care of yourself because you don't really know what's going to happen to you. I know so many people who have died young because they had illnesses that they didn't know anything about. And so you can't allow yourself to get sedentary and get to a point where you're not concerned about your health. You got to be concerned about your health all the time because your health will guide you, and it will determine what you're able to do and how you're able to bless the lives of the people around you. And you have to think about it. When you're moving, and you won't give yourself a break, and you just keep going, and you won't give yourself a break, your body will take a break in the form of a heart attack, a stroke, you know, an aneurysm. Those are the kinds of ways that your body takes a break and says, I can't do no more, I'm tired. So you got to make sure that you take care of yourself, take your medications, you know, make sure that the medications ain't got no huge side effects. It's like sometimes, y'all, when I'm watching TV and a commercial comes on and it tells me about this medication that they are giving to you for whatever illness that you have, by the time they get through telling me all the side effects, I forget about what the medicine was for in the first place. So y'all have to be very, very careful. If you have an issue with a drug that you've taken, that's another thing that I do. I am an attorney. I'm a practicing attorney. I've been practicing law, like I told you before, for 22 years. And I do just about everything. If you have cases that I don't handle, I can associate another attorney to help you deal with that situation. But mainly what I do mostly felony criminal defense, domestic relations. If you need something expunged from your record, if you need a guardianship for your child to go to school with their other parent, and you need to get a guardianship done or something like that, you know, sometimes you need that documentation before the school will allow the child to register. So I do those types of things. One of the things that I don't do estates, but I do have lawyers that I can refer those cases to. I don't do workers' comp, but I have lawyers that I can refer those cases to. I don't really do personal injury, but I associate law firms that do those cases. It's like I take the case in, but I stay on the case as an associate attorney so that the person will have a connection with the lawyer that they came to in the first place. So it's like I'm still involved, which means you can still call me and ask me questions if you have questions about your case, but I will associate another firm to deal with the insurance company, to deal with the lawyer on the other side, and all of that. Another profession that I have is I am a justice court judge in Forest County. That is an elected position that I have held since January 2012. I love the job. I really, really love it. My favorite part about doing the job is doing weddings. I really, really enjoy joining families together. Family is just an incredible thing. When I was single, I was divorced in 2007 from my son's father, and I call him my husband because he was my husband. And when I was divorced from him for 9 years before I married my husband, my current husband. And, it was just like I had PTSD. I didn't want to marry anybody. It was like, I didn't, everyone's like, hey, when you gonna get married? I'm like, never. I ain't marrying nobody. I ain't got time. I can't. The only thing that I was concerned about was getting my son to his adulthood and getting him into college and getting him ready to embark upon life, his commencement of life as a grown man. And so, it's like, and God just worked it out that, my son left for college in August and he came back in September to give me away to my husband. So it's just like, you never know what's in store for you, and you can't try to rush the process. You can't fall in love with the idea of getting married. You got to fall in love with the person that you're with and want to respect your relationship with that person so much that you want to give it the kind of relationship and the kind of commitment that it deserves. That's where I was. I loved my husband so much that I wanted to give him the kind of relationship that our relationship deserved, because it's a covenant. Our relationship before we got married, it was a covenant. So it's like I wanted to give the covenant from God. So we did our marital counseling and we got married, and we've been married 2 years, September 10th. I'm going to worry y'all from August 10th all the way to September 10th. Every day I'm going to post some kind of memory of me and my husband. Y'all going to be so sick of us. Y'all going to be sick of us. But honey, I love my man and I don't mind anybody knowing about it. You better be proud of what you got. Okay, so those are two of my jobs. I am a lawyer and I am a judge. I went to college for 9 years, University of Southern Mississippi for undergrad, University of New Orleans for my master's in business, and then Ole Miss Law School for my Juris Doctor. Another profession that I have is that of an author. I am the author of this book. This book is titled, This Has Been a Public Service Announcement. I usually make it short and say Gays PSA because that's the name of my radio show. That's the name of my fan page. So when you get a chance, put in Gays PSA on your search and make sure you go and like my fan page. If you go to my fan page, it will say buy here, and you can click on that link and you'll be taken to another link so that you can buy a copy of my book. If you want to inbox me so you can get a copy of my book, you can also do that. And then that way I can give you a signed copy, because if you order from the website, it's going to come from Texas and you're going to have to, it's not going to be a signed copy. But once you get it, if you have it and you bring it to me, I will be more than happy to sign it. I'm going to be doing more book signings over the next several months because I am working on my second book, which I hope that will be released before my 50th birthday. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm trying to get that book released before my 50th birthday. But this book, let's talk about this book first. This book is divided into 7 categories. General relationships for men, for women, single parenting, fitness, and religion. And I didn't choose those categories. Those categories chose me. This book is based on a concept that I learned in law school called res ipsa loquitur. And res ipsa loquitur just means the thing speaks for itself. And in my hood, that meant it is what it is. So that's what I talk about. I give it to you straight, no chaser. I make sure that you understand what I'm saying. I do not try to talk over people's heads. I don't try to make myself smarter than I am. I try to put the things that I say, I try to put them in terms that I drop them down to the lowest common denominator so anybody can understand what I'm talking about. An example of that would be one of my PSAs in my book. I talk about this doctrine in the law. In the relationship PSAs, I talk about a doctrine in the law called the attractive nuisance doctrine. And the attractive nuisance doctrine means that you got something on your property and it's inherently dangerous. It may be a swimming pool, it may be some logs, it may be some old cars stacked up like in a junkyard, something like that, but it's inherently dangerous to someone who cannot appreciate the danger, like a child or someone who is mentally handicapped. So that person cannot appreciate the danger, but if they get on your property and they are injured by whatever that thing is, you are per se liable for whatever happens to that person. Per se liable means that it's just like when you get a DUI and you blow .08, you are per se DUI, which means you got to prove that you're not. So it's just like once that threshold is crossed, then you're in hot water. But the way I use it in the relationship PSAs is to, just let people know. You might be at the club and you might see this girl and she is like walking through the club. She got this banging body. She got this $500 Peruvian silky weave hanging down her back. I mean, she is bad. But then what you don't see is the nuisance behind the attraction. Like that child who saw that swimming pool and they were thinking that swimming pool is just like my tub at the house. I can go play in that water and in it. But the child, when they get in that pool, they realize that's too much water. But they don't realize it until it is destroying them. And that's the same thing that happens with relationships. It's like you see her and you just go with that. You just like, I'm going to go with my feelings. And you don't know that she is hiding her car from the repo man. She got an eviction notice on her door, and she got 3 kids that live with her mama because she can't get her life together enough to take care of them. You don't know that because you too caught up in the attraction. So you ain't looking for the nuisance. You are going to ignore the elephant in the room until that elephant lands on your foot and you realize how much it weighs, and you're going to appreciate the value of dealing with the issues that face your relationships. I mean, the same thing can work for men. It's like you may see this man, he come through the club, his shoulder was so broad, he got to turn sideways to walk through the club. He's just fine. But what you don't see is the nuisance behind the attraction. You don't know that he got 2 outstanding warrants for domestic violence. You don't know that he stays in his mama's basement, and that's why he's able to afford all those expensive clothes and that expensive jewelry. You don't see the nuisance behind the attraction. And the reason that you don't see that is because you do things that people tend to do when they don't know any better. They will give what we learned in property law, fixture access to appliances. Okay, so an appliance is something that you can unplug and sit outside if it's broke. Like a microwave, a toaster. You can just unplug it and sit it outside. But a fixture is something that's going to leave a hole when you remove it. Like a tub, a sink, a toilet, a hot water heater. You're giving fixture access to people who don't deserve fixture access. You should treat them like the appliances that they are, so that when it goes bad, you can sit them outside and wait for the garbage man to come pick it up. Because you're going to get into a lot of mess if you don't do your research. It's like if you buy my book and learn the things that my book is trying to teach you, this book is going to cost you anywhere, depending on whether you get it digitally or you get the hard copy, it's going to cost you anywhere from $7 to $15. But this book can save you $15,000 in attorney's fees. Because for instance, you're ignoring the elephant in the room. Your man comes home with money every weekend, but you ain't never seen no pay stub. You haven't seen him go to work. You don't know anything about it. You ain't even took him no lunch to work because you don't know where he works. And then all of a sudden, you ignore the elephant in the room. When do you realize how much that elephant weighs? When the police kick in your door and you realize that your man is a drug dealer. Then after that, you're going to be paying me $5,000 to represent you for sale of a controlled substance or possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute if they catch you with that stuff in your house or in a car that's outside and adjacent to your house. Then you're going to have to pay me $5,000 to defend the lawsuit that your baby daddy going to file against you because you living with a drug dealer, so he going to try to come get custody of his kids. You can save yourself so much money and so much drama if you just read and understand, because this is not telling you what to do. This is not act like a lady, think like a man. This is not telling you how to get a man, how to keep a man. This is telling you what not to do. This is like your mama saying, baby, don't do that, you're going to break your neck. You know how your mama used to say, baby, get out from there, you're going to break your neck. That's what this book is about. It's about helping you to avoid pitfalls in life so that you can be a productive member of society and not let somebody disrupt the flow of your life. And what you have to realize too, if you are a parent, this is so important. And I get off on a tangent when I start talking about this because this is just so serious. If you are a parent, you have given up the right to date haphazardly, bringing people in and out of your children's life. You have given up that right. My husband is the third man to meet my son with me. He is the third man that has ever met my son through me. He is the first man that my son has ever seen get out of my bed other than his daddy. Okay. And that's, that's important. If your children see you with a different woman every weekend, or your children see you with a different man every month, they're going to be confused about what relationships mean. And it's up to you to teach them the value of relationships. If you know you got a short attention span and you know that it don't take much to get on your nerves, then you don't be bringing people around your kids. Just don't do it. Because it's like when I was single, my tolerance for foolishness was so low. It was like underneath a snail's belly. That's where my tolerance for foolishness was when I was single. So it's just like, that's why I didn't bring men around my son, because I knew that chances are there was a 98% chance that he was going to get on my nerves, and then he wasn't going to be around no more. And so I could see my baby saying, Mama, what happened to Mr. Larry? And I'd be like, Kobe, you know what? Mr. Larry, he gone. Mr. Larry is Black history, like Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, and Malcolm X and them. Mr. Larry ain't coming over here no more. So I knew that I would have a tendency to do that, so I didn't bring men around my son. I just nipped that in the bud. And that's so important, y'all. Y'all have no idea what you're doing to your children when you create confusion in their lives with regard to relationships, especially when they if they have some separation anxiety with their father or with their mother, and then you're bringing all these people around, and then these people leave their lives, and then so they're going to have separation anxiety about that, and so then they will start to have complexes, and they will have self-esteem issues, because they will think that they had something to do with their daddy leaving, they had something to do with their mama leaving, they had something to do with Mr. Larry, Mr. Charlie, Mr. William, all these men, all these women, Miss Becky teaching your children to roll her hair to the back, and then Miss Sue teaching her to roll it down to the side, and and then you don't know whether or not these people are teaching your children, how to be a criminal, how to be how to be a woman of the night, how to be a drug dealer, how to be a hustler, how to be a thief. You don't know. And so you picked up this man at the club or this woman at the club, and you're bringing them home and putting them over your children and putting them around your children. It's just not smart. And then you end up around me trying to get me to fix your problem. But what you have to realize, when you hire a lawyer, when you hire a doctor, when you hire a psychiatrist, when you hire somebody to come and fix your plumbing, whatever you're hiring somebody to do, this is what you got to realize about that person that you're hiring. They did not create that situation that you're in. If you've been letting hair go down your drain, you call the plumber, you mad with the plumber because it's hair in your drain because you ain't been cleaning that drain out after you get through washing your hair in the shower. Why is that the plumber's fault? That ain't the plumber's fault. Why you mad with your lawyer and the judge because you got to split custody with your baby daddy or with your baby mama? Did the lawyer or the judge have sex with your baby mama or your baby daddy? That was you. You did that. You chose them. So you got to deal with the consequences of that. And the best way to deal with that is to be preventive, be proactive, and don't have sex with anybody unless you're willing to deal with them for the next 18 years. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's just like, it's very, very simple. And that's how I break it down in this book. Y'all will have so much fun reading this book. You will laugh. You will cry. My son is a cancer survivor. He's 20 years old now, but when he was 13, he was diagnosed with a soft tissue sarcoma on his left thigh. So my baby had to endure 4 surgeries, 31 radiation treatments, and 7 rounds of chemo. And then, so that just helped me deal with my faith, because, there is no more helpless feeling than when you are sitting there in a chair and your baby has a plastic port in his chest. They are taking an IV and they're attaching that IV to your baby's chest, and it's going directly into his body. The medicine that they're hanging, the medicine that they put in the drip. I don't know if the doctor has prescribed the right medicine. I don't know if the nurse is hanging the right medicine. So all I can do is lean and depend on God and have my faith to help me to have the peace that I need to know that God is going to take care of my baby. I mean, that's just the bottom line. You have to have that peace that surpasses understanding. My baby came to me while he was going through his treatments and his surgeries, and he was like, Mama, I just don't want to die. That's what my baby said to me. My baby said, just imagine your 13-year-old child being faced with his own mortality, and he tells you, I just don't want to die. So what I told my son was, after I prayed, I asked God, I said, God, give me the words to give to my son to help him deal with this situation. And this is what I said to him. I said, Kobe, do you know how we get on the plane and we go to see Aunt Jackie, and we get on the plane and we go to this place and that place, went to DC and we did all that? He was like, yes, ma'am. I said, you know how we get in the car and we go to Jackson, we get in the car and we go to Atlanta and we go to this place and that place in the car? And he was like, yes, ma'am. I said, do you ever worry about dying when we're doing that? And he was like, no, ma'am, I don't. And I said, why? And he said, because I trust God to get us there safely. And I told my baby, I said, this is just another journey that God is taking us on. And we got to trust him to get us there safely. And he did. He got us there safely. He delivered my son, and my son has been cancer-free for 6 years. And so that's one of the things that I talk about in my book as part of my testimony. And I just like sharing that with people. And that's one of the things that I'm going to be talking about. The things that I've been talking about with regard to parenting, those are some of the things that I'm going to be discussing in my next book. Y'all are going to love it. Y'all are going to be just as excited about it as me. And so I've been working really, really hard so that I can do what I need to do to get that book in your hands by the end of the year. Okay, so y'all, I'm at the midway point of my show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick commercial break. And while I'm taking a commercial break, I'm going to read some of y'all's comments, and I'm going to give y'all some shout outs, and then we'll just be right back. So it's like, it's kind of messed up because the radio, people listening on the radio are getting something that y'all aren't getting. Like, they're getting the music, y'all aren't getting the music. You know, y'all aren't going to get the commercials, but they're not going to get what you're getting, which is the shout outs and all that. So this is really kind of fun. So I may do this again. The only thing is I got to figure out the logistics of when I have a guest. How can I stop the echo from happening and all of that? So anyway, yeah. Before we went to the break, I was letting y'all in on some of my careers and some of the things that I do. Like I told you, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a lawyer, I'm a judge, I'm a singer-songwriter, and I am an author and a motivational speaker. So if y'all have an event that you're having, especially a women's conference, because I mean, I can speak to anyone, it's like I can make it do what it do with whoever I'm speaking with. Like, I've spoken with the International Executive Housekeepers Association, the LPN Association. It really just doesn't matter who I'm talking to, because I can make my comments adaptable to any audience. So if you're having an event, whether it's a community event, an educational event, I've done commencement exercises for universities. I got the credentials to do that. All you need is a doctorate. And so I got, even if it's an honorary doctorate, but mine is real. I went through blood, sweat, and tears, 90 hours at Ole Miss Law School to get this law degree. So, if you have an educational corporate event, you have a community event, I've spoken at various Martin Luther King events, Black History events, Women's Day programs at churches. I have been a breakout speaker at different church events when they have singles conferences. I really appeal to single people, men and women, because I'm able to talk to them about the struggle. I'm able to talk to them about the things that people go through when they're dating and try to help them to avoid some of the pitfalls that they can be subject to if they don't heed some of these warning signs. I mean, it's just like, y'all, I'm telling you, it's be like the lights be like this in your face. And you just be, oh, well, maybe he ain't got no money because he got to take care of his mama. So first of all, if he says he lives with his mama, you got to find out whether or not he lives with his mama or his mama live with him. There's a difference. Whose name is on the deed? Okay? He may have never moved out. So you have to pay attention to these things, because when you are looking for a man, ladies, but let me retract that statement, because first of all, you should not be looking for a man, because the Bible says when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and he has favor with God. And this is why the Bible says that, because a man will start looking for a wife when he's ready to be a husband. But what y'all are doing is y'all are going and get these men. You're looking for these men, and you're finding these men, and they're in whatever shape they're in. They have not found themselves, so they definitely ain't looking for you. And they're not ready to be a husband. They may think they want to be a husband. They may want to give you what you need, but you have to make sure that your man is ready to be a husband. You cannot try to orchestrate the relationship and lead it down to the altar. That's not your place. If my husband had not asked me to marry him, we would still be dating right now. Or we'd probably be broke up by now, because it don't take 4 years to realize that I'm the one you want, because I know I'm a good woman. So if you know you're a good woman and he's like, you've been with him for 7 years and he still ain't sure, or he trying to find himself, then he ain't trying to find you. Because a man knows what he wants, and men go hard for what they want. You've seen them do it on the basketball court, on the football field. If they really want something, they're willing to work for it. They're willing to train for it. They're willing to do whatever they have to do to get what they want. So if they ain't doing all that for you, then you ain't her, honey. You got to realize that and understand it, and don't let your feelings be hurt by it. Just know that, when it's time to move on. Okay, so another one of my careers that we talked about was me being a singer-songwriter. The song that you heard on the intro is called God Gives Me, and like I told you, that song appears in the movie Blackbird, and it's on the soundtrack of that movie. And the words of that song, it's very, very personal to me. It talks about my relationship with God, but it talks about how my relationship with God got me through certain phases of my life. The first verse of the song says, I remember well the trials that God has sustained me through thus far. I have been there where you are. I've been up and I've been down. I have cried till I could no longer make a sound. Hope could not be found. Life can get so crazy. The forest blocks the trees. But trusting God through trials helped me find the strength I need. And then the chorus after that says, God gives me strength that surpasses all understanding. Be strong, hold on, give him trust. He'll give you joy. God gives me strength that surpasses all understanding. Make him yours, and he'll protect you from the troubles of this world. Now, the second verse are for those who are brokenhearted and who think that nobody is going to ever love you. But what you got to understand is you got to love yourself first. You got to show yourself love, and you'll be able to show people how to do it properly if you love yourself first. But you can't expect anybody to give to you what you're not giving to yourself. And if you're not loving yourself, then you can't expect anybody else to do it. And when it comes to men and women in the dating arena, y'all, let me tell you something about men and women. Men and women in the dating arena are like buses in New York City. If you miss one, another one will be along shortly. And if you can't wait that long, you can get your Uber or get on the subway. But don't sit around losing your mind over something. Don't do that. Don't do that, because you are splendidly and wonderfully made by God. So you are a gift. You need to treat yourself like a gift, and don't allow people to depreciate your value, and know your worth and walk your worth and do what God is leading you to do, not what you think you can do to keep this man and rope this man in, or to get this woman hooked, or all that. That's play. Don't do that. Be sincere. Be who you are. But the second verse of the song talks about that, and it says, when my first love left me crying, I know now that you were teaching me that I had to trust you with my life. You showed me how to be the gift, to be to man what you called me to be. It's my birthright, you see. Sometimes when you are lonely, the forest blocks the trees. But trusting God through trials helped me find the love I need. And then the chorus, of course, says, God gives me love that surpasses all understanding. It goes from there. Then the third verse is like, it's hard for me to talk about the third verse without crying, because my mother passed away when I was pregnant with my son. So, my son will be 21 this year. So my mother next month will be 21 years that she's been gone. But the third verse talks about her. And, sometimes when people die, it's like you feel like you're never going to be able to get up from that. You feel like you can't talk about them, but you can't hide people's memories away. You have to share their memories with your children. You have to share those memories with people so that they will live on through you. I'm going to give you an example of that, and then I'm going to recite to you the third verse of the song. Now, mind you, I ain't got no script. I'm doing all this by memory. So if I jumble the words, don't charge it to my head, not my heart. But when I was pregnant with my son, my mother passed away in August. So we came to Thanksgiving, and everybody was like, who's going to make the pecan pies? I said, I'm going to make the pecan pies. I'm going to try to make the pecan pies. My sister Lisa said, okay, well, I do the dressing. And so I did the pecan pies. So cooked the pecan pies, used the ingredients that I knew to use, that my mother showed me to use. The pie tasted incredible. I mean, it was like the batter, if you stick your finger in it, it was really, really good. It was perfect. So I put the pies in the oven, and I let them cook for the specified amount of time, and then I took them out the oven. I allowed them to cool for about 30 minutes, and then I went in to cut so I could, taste the pie. I cut the pie, and the pie was runny in the middle. It was running in the middle, and let me tell you something. When I tell you that I lost it, I cried like somebody was beating me. Now, mind you, I'm pregnant. I'm already emotional. And my husband didn't know what to do with me. He was calling my sister. She's hysterical. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what happened. I just know she's hysterical. She won't tell me nothing. I just told him to leave me alone. So I went in the bathroom, and I was washing my face. And while I was washing my face, I heard a voice, just as clear as my voice is to you. I heard a voice say, baby, put the pies back in the oven. And at that moment, I had like a vision of me and my mother making the pecan pies and looking in the oven to make sure that they had risen up in the middle. That's how you know that a pecan pie is ready. When it rises up in the middle, that's how you know that that little batter, that little syrup and sugar stuff is done, because it rises up in the middle like that. So I went and put the pies in the oven. The pies are perfect, and they've been perfect ever since. So for the last 21 years, I've been making these perfect pecan pies, and people they don't even want me to come to the family events unless what a pecan pie is that, gay? I'm like, what about, you don't want me? What about me? So it's just like, you have to remember that. You have to realize that the things that you teach your children, that your parents taught you, it's like they live on through you, but they can only live on through you if you allow their memories to thrive, and you tell your children stories about the things that they taught you and the things that you went through as a child. You can't act like you got it all together. Your children have to have the transparency to know that you have been where they are. Because if children think that you're perfect, then it's like they will think that I'm getting it all wrong. But if they know that you too are fallible, then they will understand that I gotta grow, and I gotta get to where my mama is. So the third verse of the song, and then that will help you to prepare them for a time when you're not there anymore, because you may not get to see the end of their life. So you have to make sure that you prepare your children for the time when you may not be there anymore. So the third verse of the song talks about peace. And it says, when I heard my mom was dying, you led me to the smiles beyond my tears. I had to face my greatest fear. But she knew my son was on the way, and she told me to protect him, come what may. She said I'd understand one day. Grief can bring you down and make the forest block the trees, but trusting God through trials helped me find the peace I need. And I mean, it's just like, it's unspeakable peace. It's unspeakable joy. And, and people talk about this joy that I had, the world didn't give it to me, the world can't take it away. If you have that kind of peace, then the world will never be able to take that from you. If you lose your job, if you lose, like this man, oh my God, I remember when Houston was doing all that flooding, when all that flooding was going on in Houston, and this man was walking, and he was walking with his little boy. His little boy looked like he was about 6 years old. He's walking with his little boy, and they had to be like airlifted. Their house was flooded. They had to climb through the roof, and they had to airlift them with a helicopter out of the house. They lost everything. The only thing they had was what was in their backpacks and what was on their body, the clothes on their back. And that man said, I thank God. He said, we're blessed. He said, we made it out. We're blessed. I thank God. Because as long as you have breath in your body, that is an opportunity. Every time you inhale and exhale, that is an opportunity to make your life better. Only when you have pressed a dying pillow is when you don't have another chance to make it right. So if there is somebody that you got beef with, that you shouldn't have beef with, You need to make it right, because you have an opportunity to do that because you're still alive. But once you press a down pillar, it's going to be too late. Once that person dies, you falling out at the funeral and laying all on the casket because you know that you didn't take the opportunity to be the kind of person that you should have been to them in the relationship. It's too late then to try to act like you got some sense. It's too late then. So do what you need to do. Do right by people. Be an honest person. Be a good person. Be somebody that God can be proud of, to say, that's my child, that's my servant right there. And with that, I'm going to tell y'all a quick joke. And then I'm going to start wrapping it up because it's almost time for the show to be over. I told this joke when I was in Hawaii. There was a man who was sitting on an island, and he was just relaxing and chilling. And so God came to him and said, you know what? You have been a faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things, and I want to make you ruler over many. I want to bless you with something, whatever you want. What is the desire of your heart? I want to grant you, you have delighted yourself in me, and I want to grant you a desire of your heart. And the man was like, oh, thank you, Lord. And he was like, I'm going to come back to see you tomorrow. You tell me what you want. And so the Lord left. He came back the next day. He was like, okay, what you want? And the man said, well, I've always wanted to go to Hawaii, but I don't want to get on no boat, and I'm scared to fly. So I just want you to build me a highway to Hawaii so I can drive over there in my car. And the Lord was like, what? And he was like, I just want a highway to Hawaii, Lord, so I can drive over there. You know, so I don't want to get on no plane. I don't want to get on a boat. The Lord was like, you know what? You are so selfish. Do you know the natural resources and the human resources that we would have to use in order to take, you know, like the concrete and the steel all the way down to the ocean floor? Are you crazy? That's so selfish. We could be feeding people, and people could be relieved from famine and all of that with all the resources we're going to use for that. I'm not doing that. He said, you think of something that serves mankind, and I'll be back tomorrow. You tell me what you want. So the man was like sitting there. He was thinking. And so the Lord came back the next day. He was like, all right, what you want? And, you know, because the Lord was skeptical, because he was like, you come up with some foolishness like a highway to Hawaii, what you going to say today? So the man said, well, Lord, I just want to understand women. When they get quiet and I ask them what's wrong and they say nothing, I want to know what's wrong so that I can help them fix it. I just want to be able to understand women. And the Lord was like, really? He said, yes, sir. He said, do you want that highway to be 4-lane or 2-lane? My husband loves that joke because he says that women are so hard to understand, but we're not hard to understand. You just got to do what we want. You got to do what we want. Denzel Washington had a quote the other day. He said he's been married to Pauletta for 35 years. He said, and the secret to a happy marriage for men, if you want to be happy, he said, keep your mouth shut and do what you're told. I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's a really wonderful philosophy. Shout out to Denzel Washington. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is my future projects and what I have going on that's going to be coming on next. Of course, Gays PSA will continue to come to you on Survival Radio Network, and I will have my show. It airs every Friday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2:30 Pacific Time, and 5:30 Eastern Time. So it will continue to come on, and you will be able to be exposed to my incredible guest. I mean, I got some people coming to see y'all in August that are going to just blow you away. So you're just going to be so excited, and I'm so excited, and we're just going to do everything to make this show as great as it could be. But also what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing what do you call it, like little seminars via the internet. I'm going to start doing I'm going to start trying to present some things to you guys, some information that you can use. You know, some of it will be in the form of free legal advice, you know, because when you listen to the things that I say, it's like you're getting the perspective of a lawyer who has been practicing law for more than 20 years. I have seen it all. So that means that when I'm telling you something, I'm telling you I done seen somebody fall in this hole and I'm trying to keep you from going in. That's the perspective that I'm giving you. And it's just like when you have a lawyer that is giving you information for free, we don't like giving away information. Like a consultation in my office is $100. We don't give away nothing, and ain't nothing free. But when I do my PSAs, when I do my radio show, and I bring other lawyers on to talk to you about civil rights, talk to you about criminal rights, you know, I had Jennifer Riley Collins from the ACLU on 2 weeks in a row, and she came and she just talked about constitutional rights. She talked about, you know, the things that can be done, the things that cannot be done by law enforcement when you're presented with a criminal charge. And, you know, she just gave you some free information. I've had Brian Vonderburg on the air. He's talked to us about DUI because he was a city prosecutor. So he talked about DUIs and the things that you have to be concerned about and make sure that you do if you're going to go out and party. Now, when I was teaching aerobics, I'm a former aerobics instructor. I've worked in the university setting a few times. The last time was as an aerobics instructor for the HPR department at the University of Southern Mississippi. I've also been assistant dean for student affairs at the law school at Ole Miss. So I've done some administration on the university level, and I've done some teaching on the university level. But when my students came for their orientation on their first day of class, I told them the 4 Ds of going out and partying. The 4 Ds of going out and partying. Now I'm fixing to give you some free legal advice. You ready? Okay. The first D is designate a driver. Be proactive. There may be somebody who won't hang out with you and your girls, and they, you know, they might be a little nerd or something, or a little church mouse, and she may just want to hang out with y'all, but she don't drink. So just, you know, designate a driver. Get somebody to drive y'all around, or Uber. You know, it's just like designate a driver. Figure out how you're going to handle it if you have too much to drink. Designate a driver. That's the first D of going out and partying. The second D of going out and partying is do not blow. Once you blow, I just talked to y'all about that, about being per se liable, about being per se DUI. Once you blow .08 on that breathalyzer, you are per se DUI. And there's really not a lot that your lawyer is going to be able to do other than work you a good deal with the prosecutor, hope that the judge accepts it so that you can get non-adjudicated probation on your DUI. So do not blow. The third one is dial a bail bondsman, because a bail bondsman is the only person that's going to be able to get you out of jail in the middle of the night. And the fourth and most important D is do not call me in the middle of the night. I am not going to be using my judge favors to get you out of jail in the middle of the night. So dial a bail bondsman. Do not call me, because if you call me if you got my personal cell number and you call me in the middle of the night because you did not follow the first 3 Ds, and you call me in the middle of the night, I'm going to ask you to let me speak to the officer so he can tell me where y'all are, and then I'm going to jail that night. You may not go, but I'm going to jail that night. I'm coming to where you are, and it's going to be on and popping. So, you know, just be proactive. Do what you need to do in order to keep your life on track. I mean, you know, it's just like if you know that you like to drink, then, you know, be proactive and make sure that you don't get behind the wheel of a car, because you can do so many things. You can destroy so many lives. It's not just a DUI, because you think about Hattiesburg ain't that big, but even if you're somewhere like New Orleans or New York, even when I was in New York City, you know, I never spent more than $25 on an Uber to take me somewhere. But $25 as opposed to a DUI. A DUI, you're going to have to, for a DUI first, I charge $3,500. For a DUI second, I charge $5,000. For a DUI third, which is a felony, I charge $7,500. Okay, so you think about that as opposed to the $25 that you'll spend on an Uber. The second thing you have to think about is the fact that if someone is injured or if someone dies because you chose to drive under the influence, you are facing 25 years in prison. When I was a public defender, I was in court. It wasn't my client, but I was in court, and there was a man who was charged with DUI causing death and serious injury. Like I said, it carries 25 years per count. So this man was facing 25 years in prison per count. So he was facing 100 years in prison. The judge gave him 100 years with 75 to serve, because he killed two military people who were military personnel, and he injured 2 people who were military personnel. He hit a Humvee, and he was doing meth in a Mack truck, and so he got 100 years with 75 to serve. You know how long he gonna be in jail for? forever. That's how long he's gonna be in jail for. Forever. It's not worth it. The $25 that you spend, because like, say for instance, you pay me the $3,500 to represent you on your DUI, and I'm not able to get you out of it, but I'm able to work you a deal with the prosecutor so that you can get non-adjudicated probation. You're gonna have to pay, the fine is $1,000. To get the interlock on your car and to get the non-adjudication fee with the state of Mississippi, that's $250. Then you're going to have to pay the probation fees. That's $50 a month. If you get the interlock, you will have to pay for the interlock fee every month to keep that on your steering wheel. The interlock is the thing that you put on the steering wheel that you have to blow in before you can crank your car if you've had a DUI. That's the only way you can keep your driver's license. Otherwise, your driver's license is going to be suspended for 180 days. So you just have to really think about, 120 days, I'm sorry. But you have to really think about the repercussions and ask yourself, is it worth it? When I go and speak to kids at schools, I tell them, just take a deep breath in and then blow it out. And, on the inhale and exhale, ask yourself, is it worth it? Because is it going to be worth what you're going to have to go through if that goes bad for you? Okay? Anyway, so I want y'all to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's called Gay Polk-Payton. My YouTube channel is Gay Polk-Payton. So I need y'all to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube channel, and I'm going to start giving y'all advice on different topics at least 3 times a week. But you're going to have to subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you'll be able to get the information. And then if you subscribe to the channel, every time I post a video, you'll get an email. Or if you have a YouTube app on your phone, you'll get a notification saying that Gay Polk-Payton just posted a video. So that's GayPolkPayton. It is amazing to me that people will inbox me on Facebook looking at my name. You looking at my name on Facebook, but you misspelled it. You put a GAYE on my name. How you gonna really? That's what you're gonna do? You gonna put an E on my name and PEYTON, really? That's what you're gonna do? And you looking at my name, it's right there above the message you writing, really? Okay. Anyway, so GayPolkPayton. Also, go to the search at the top of your Facebook page, look for Gays PSA. Go and like my Gays PSA fan page, and I will also put PSAs on that page. When I post something on YouTube, I'm also going to share it on my PSA fan page, so you'll be able to get it that way too. Also, my attorney at law fan page is Gay Polk-Payton, attorney at law. My music fan page is just Gay Polk-Payton. So y'all just make sure y'all follow me. I'm going to have so much information that's going to be flowing to you guys. I want to help you. I want to help you be a better you, and it helps me to be a better me by helping you be a better you. So I want you guys to be who all you can be, and you ain't got to join the army to do that. You can be all you can be sitting at your house, working over there at Dillard's. You ain't got to join the military to do that. You can be all you can be in the comfort of your own home, but you have to change your mentality. You have to change the way you see the world. And if you change the way you see the world, then the world will see you in a different way. So I'm going to introduce my my last song, and then I'm going to go. The song that you're going to hear, people who are on the radio, the song you're going to hear is called Real Man. I wrote that song as well. I wrote it at the gas station. I was pumping my own gas, and I was thinking that if I had a real man, I wouldn't have to be pumping my own gas. My car would be full of gas, my oil be changed just like it is now, because I got a man. My car clean, all of that. It's just like, so I wrote this song in contemplation of the man that God brought to me like 2 years later after I wrote the song. But the song is also featured in the Blackbird soundtrack, starring Julian Walker, Isaiah Washington, and Monique Hicks. So y'all enjoy this song as it goes to the end of the show, and I appreciate you guys so much for being with me on Gays PSA. If you are watching live on Facebook, stay with me. I'm going to give you guys some shout outs, and if you're listening on the radio, I look forward to being with you next week on Gays PSA. You will have a wonderful, wonderful time, y'all. I'm so grateful to y'all for being with me today. So be with me again next week at 4:30 Central Standard Time, 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific Time on Gays PSA on Survivor Radio Network, guys. Thank you so much for being with me. All right, guys. So that's it for the radio show for today. I'm gonna give some shout outs, and then I'm going to go. Let's see. I got Ricky Pam. Hey Ricky. Hey Chad. Hey Greg. Hey, babe, what we eating for dinner? I want a steak. Okay, hey, Robin. Hey, Michelle. What's up, Robin? How you doing? Hey, Daniel. Tashia, how you doing? Um, okay, Robin, inbox me if you want to talk to me about being on my show. Anybody who is interested in being on my show, I love bringing on interesting guests. You know, if you have a very interesting profession that you want to talk about, if you have a crisis that you've overcome in your life, if you're an author, if you're a singer, if you're a songwriter, if you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, if you're a garbage man, but you got an interesting story to tell, just inbox me on Facebook. I would love to have you on my radio show. Hi, now Kobe's calling me. It's like they don't know what time my radio show airs, I guess. Hey Gwendolyn. Hey Bill. Hey Trisha, Ruby, Tony, Catherine, Michelle. That's how you can tell whether or not somebody is listening to your show. Because if they call you while your show on, that means they ain't watching and they ain't listening. Hey Miss Lily. Hey Linda. Hey Constance. Shay, how you doing? Is my finger not working? Hey Elaine. Hey Nathan, Pastor Laster, how you doing? Hey Billy Dawn. Chris. RJ, I got two singers in a row, Chris Sampson and RJ Johnson. Them some singing boys right there. Hey, Patricia, Kenyatta, Andy, Linda, Latoya, Dre, Katrina, Gabe. How you doing, Gabe? Hey, James, Tanya, Clark, how you doing? Tammy Hill, hey, I'm looking forward to, thank you, Constance. Constance is my friend who lives in New Jersey. She said, this is great, gay. So, y'all, I really had a good time. I hope y'all had a good time. I'm sorry that I had to, disrupt the feed, and so you'll have to watch the first half. You have to scroll down on my page and watch the first half and then watch the second half if you missed any of it. But I appreciate you guys so much for being with me on Gays PSA via Facebook Live, and I was simulcasting on the radio at the same time while I was talking to you guys on the air, and that was so much fun. Oh my God, it was just so much fun. So if you want to get a copy of my book, it's titled This Has Been a Public Service Announcement. Go and like my fan page, Gays PSA. You can scroll down and you can get a copy of my book, or you can go to www.gaypolk-payton.com, or you can go to teardropspublishing.net. Anywhere, any of those places. You can even go to Amazon. It just may take a little bit longer. Amazon's kind of slow when it comes to books. But so the quickest way to get it is to either go to one of those websites or inbox me if you would like a copy of the book. And I will be letting you guys know when I'm going to be doing another book signing. So I look forward to being with you guys again. And thank you so much for joining and being so attentive. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Oh, yeah, by the way, I didn't say this on the air on the radio show, but tomorrow, if you live in Jackson, I will be singing the national anthem for the Mississippi Braves tomorrow night. I think the game starts at 7. I got to be there like 5:15, so the game might start at 6. But I'll be singing the national anthem for the Mississippi Braves tomorrow night. So if you're able to come and you're near the Jackson area, come and see us. All right. God bless you too, Ruby. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Bye.